Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play The Last Spell, shall we? Doing a complete beginner's guide for the full release of the game here in 2023. And what we're going to do in this guide is start up a brand new campaign so that you can see what the game is like. If you're thinking about buying it, you can understand the basics and the controls if you did just buy it and play along with me as I start a brand new game, go through the tutorial, explain my thought process, the controls, the UI, basic tips and strategy, so that you can just get the most out of this awesome roguelite. This game is a beautiful mashup of tower defense, real-time tactical, let me take that back, not real-time turn-based tactical strategy game, kind of like, Final Fantasy Tactics or Fire Emblem, XCOM, stuff like that, but it's got base building, tower defense, and roguelike elements where even if you wipe, you make progress that will carry you through and allow you to become stronger on your subsequent runs. So it's a really fun play loop. There's a lot of awesome stuff to do here. There's many choices, some overwhelming things that I want to break down for you. Now, in this guide, I am not going to min-max, tell you the best, fastest route to do anything, force you along a particular path of play, but instead just show you all of the options that are at your disposal so that you can pick your own play style, see what you want to do, and just understand the game better. Because once you get into it, I really think this is a terrific game. So I'm going to start with a new campaign, and we'll get into the story. War. For centuries, the world was engulfed in never-ending strife and chaos. Elves fighting dwarves, dwarves fighting humans, orcs fighting everyone. The common folk were bled dry, misery, famine, plague. Secluded in his tower, researching forbidden magic secrets, the Archmage Hieronymus Teller made an extraordinary discovery. Wild, unknown words of power to harness tremendous forces. A ritual of mass destruction able to obliterate any city in one strike. Hoping to end all wars, he cast a spell on Glintfane, a small enemy village. A gigantic, dark ball of purple flames fell from the sky and smashed into the town center, leaving only ruins, lifeless bodies, and purple fumes. The whole royal family of a neighboring kingdom was present at that time. They all died. Oh boy. The king, mad with grief, ordered the military to research this new magic. He made his mages unleash hell on the closest major city. Several 100,000 died. Every kingdom sought the purple magic. Alliances were set in motion. The sky was constantly flashing purple bursts. Thundering blasts were heard every hour. War was no more. Only annihilation. There was no turning back. At some point, the explosions stopped. A resounding silence. An ominous mist started to aggregate around the remaining cities. Small groups of survivors gathered. The surrounding mist was thickening. At night, they had to defend against ghastly monsters. They called them Clawers. A fighter simply known as the Commander took charge. Defenses were rebuilt. Some havens emerged from the chaos. Most mages were hanged or worse in retribution. Some of them, fearing for their lives, tried to find an answer. They found a way. A spell. The last spell. They devised complex rituals to cleanse the corrupted runic nexus. The goal was simple, yet nearly impossible. channel enough energy to break the remaining seals of magic and banish all magic from this world forever. But when comes the night, terrifying, mutated creatures appear. They come out of the mist to kill. The survivor's only hope is to fight night after night and protect these mages at any cost until the last spell is cast. And that is our job. To fight endless droves of enemies at night and protect the mages at the havens to cast the spell to save the world. All right, so now, once we're past the story and the stage is set, we are here in the game phase and the tutorial. So it says, defend the last bastion of humanity with your squad of heroes. While the mages try to banish all magic, exterminate fiendish monsters by night, and rebuild your battered city defenses by day. Protect the magic circle, which is right here where the mage is casting and the blue bubble is flickering, night after night until the mages break the seal. The haven is lost if the magic circle is destroyed or if all heroes are dead. During the deployment phase, position your heroes by placing them just outside the city. The camera can be moved using the arrow keys or WASD. You can pan to the edge of the screen with your mouse, and you can also just grip it with the mouse wheel button. The direction of incoming hordes is shown in the commander's journal. Okay, so you'll see over here the commander's journal, and we'll talk about all of this in more detail as we go. Okay, so here we are. Here's the map. I'm just moving around with the arrow keys. So let's talk about what we see in the center of the screen, and then I will explain the HUD/UI. So as we look along the borders of the map, you'll see these kind of dotted purple lines. This is the mist, and this is telling you where enemies can spawn. Okay, so they will spawn in this purplish misty area, and they will come from the direction marked in your journal, or you can just see it on the map. So right here, you'll see a kind of 3-spear banner with a couple of skulls impaled on it, and this indicates enemies are coming from here. The number of skulls reflects the magnitude of monsters, like how many monsters. They're all coming, and they're coming from right here. So it says they're coming from the northwest, and this arrow says what direction they're going to come from. So this is super nice, and you can zoom in and out on the map by using the mouse wheel. I'm going to zoom out because you know when you're positioning your heroes, well, I don't need to defend over here or over here or over here right now. But depending on what happens next, I might need to defend the next day in different areas. So you get to redeploy your heroes every day and position them based on where the threats are coming from, based on your defenses, and based on the terrain. For example, you'll see right here, there's a lot of watery, swampy terrain that is perhaps blocking or inhibiting movement that we can use to our advantage. Now, in this phase, the deployment phase, okay, we get to do everything that's in the commander's journal from top to bottom. So let's first go ahead and just discuss the screen. In the upper left, you'll see it says it's what phase it's in, the deployment phase, and you can click this button or push return to go to the next phase. The game is broken up into phases. So there's deployment, there's, we'll see kind of as they go, building, fighting, and then phases within combat, and then the next day, redeploy, build, equip, stuff like that. That's the game loop. Now, also in the upper left, you can see what day number, or we're actually in the daytime, day or night, how much money we have, how many materials we have, which we can use to build walls and defenses and buildings, and how many workers we have in the village. Then over on the upper right, you'll see that there are some hero portraits. These are our 3 characters, Layla, Edwig, and Freya. And below them, there are some bars indicating how many movement points they have, how many AP they have, and how many mana they have. And right now, they're just kind of standing on the map, but we can reposition them at our will, okay? During the deployment phase, I should say. Now, below the upper left deployment or phase window, there is the commander's journal, which tells you what you can do during this phase. So we can position our heroes, okay? And we can position all of them because we haven't positioned any of them. And you can click on this button to just toggle between the different heroes who have not yet moved today. And you see that they're going to come from this direction. Now in the lower left, you can see there is more information about each hero that we have selected. So with Freya selected right now, for example, you could see her portrait, you could see what level she is, her name. This opens up this treasure chest icon in the lower left. You can push V to open this or click on it, and it opens up your city's stash, which looks like this. This will display all of the items that you currently have. We have none, so it's empty, okay? But you can also use this as a character panel because there are different tabs on this right box that go between character details and perks, which are things you get when you level up. So let's go to character details for a moment and just take a look at Freya. So Freya is level 1, okay? She's selected right now, which is why her information is appearing on the left box. We can see how much health, mana, AP, movement points she has, how much damage is, and all of her modifiers right here that are offensive modifiers, her defensive modifiers. This is her paper doll with her equipment. And these traits are random, okay? And give her different benefits and negatives. And then here are her secondary attributes. Now you can mouse over everything to look at what these do. So for example, daily mana regen says this is how much mana you restore every morning, all right? And we'll talk about that more in a second. You can see right now, you can customize her by clicking on this, and this really just lets you customize her cosmetics if you want to change, you know, how she appears on the screen and colors and rename her and stuff like that, and then cancel. And then down here below the paper doll, okay, you can see there's 4 inventory slots which have little backpack icons, so you can put consumables, scrolls, and stuff like that here. And these are the different abilities that she gets with the weapon that she currently has equipped. So Last Spell is a game where whatever weapon you have equipped determines what type of abilities you can use. All right, so for example, we have a Novice's Wand, so it comes with Sword of Damocles, Transfer, Magic Missiles, and you can also Punch and Fortify, which are just neutral things, and Jump Over. So if you swap her weapon set, for example, to, like, I give her nothing, then you can see that she only has Punch, Fortify, and Jump Over as skills to use, because these are just what everybody has, regardless of their weapon set. Now, what's cool about this is you can equip people with another weapon and change it during battle so that you can get access to new abilities based on the situation you find yourself in. Now, I'm going to explain this stuff in greater detail when we get into combat, but suffice to say, movement is how many squares you can move in a turn. And if you look at the tooltip below it, it says you have a base of 7, but your gear is actually subtracting 1 from it, okay? So, you know, heavier armor generally comes with a movement penalty, but it protects you better. We'll talk about armor in a moment. Action points are what you need to do a lot of your skills, okay? They're yellow, mana is blue, and health, it will show you how many health you have, how it's calculated, and how much health you restore every morning, okay? And then these are like, you know, your crit percentage, your resistance reduction, your accuracy modifier, stuff like that. These can be positive or negative depending on your character. And then blue is defensive, your dodge chance, your decreases for incoming damage, and armor. So armor is a layer that's on you that you'll see above your character's health bar, either on the screen or in the lower left in the kind of expanded view of the hero. And this actually gets subtracted before you take hit point damage, and it regenerates every turn, unlike health. So armor is super good for keeping your character safe, and this is how much you block, and she has a shield indeed. So you can really go into the weeds on all of these different stats, but for now we're just going to push escape and get out of this menu. Now the character sheet, which looks like a person wearing a helmet, to the right of the backpack, we just accessed the same way, and it's just a different tab on the stash, perks, and character sheet. Now, Freya, okay, you can see she's right here. This shows her armor. This shows her health. This shows her block. You can use these arrows, okay, to switch between your heroes. You can also use Q and E on the keyboard to switch between your heroes. Now, it tells you, for example, that Freya has 5 action points, 22 mana, and 6 movement points, and these dynamically update while you're playing to reflect where you're at on each turn. And here, to the right, it shows you your 2 weapon sets, okay? You can switch between them if you wish by pushing tab or just clicking on them. And it doesn't take a turn or action points or anything to switch between your weapons. You can just do that instantly. Super nice. And for example, if I were to look at Sword of Damocles above this skill, okay, you could see that it takes 1 action point, all right, to use, but no mana. However, Magic Missiles takes 2 action points and 4 mana. This skill right here, you can see. Now, below the skill, there is a number, and a slash, and a number again, and this is this fraction represents the total number of times you can use this per round and how many times you have used it. So, like, Sword of Damocles, I can use it 4 times per round, regardless of how many, action points. Even if I have action points empty, I can't use this again because I can only have 4 charges of it per round. All right, so it tells you, okay, I can use this 4 times, but I might need to use Restoration or Magic Missile or something else to use other action points. So we'll get into that more specifically when we get into combat, but let's talk about now, we've described the screen, the different aspects on the screen. These are our weapon skills that have a sword above them, okay? To the right, these are our kind of like utility abilities, blocking, for example, and then this is a movement ability, the exclamation, which is environment-based. So if there is an obstacle in your way, you can jump over it. It costs 3 movement points to do so, but it's super helpful if you want to like get behind something to get cover. Now, additionally, okay, on the screen, you're going to see you have a bunch of buildings in the town that are already placed. Some of them have a function, some of them do not. Some of them are just merely decorative. You also have some walls, okay, that will help protect your mage. But right now, we can't build anything. We have no building materials. If we want to build more walls or other buildings, it's going to cost building materials and gold, or sometimes both, depending. And right now, we need to position our heroes. So the mage is here that we want to protect. And I'm just going to click on Edwig, okay, select him. You see there's a purple rotating and glowing square underneath him with light shining up, meaning he's selected. And now we can click wherever we want. And if the square has these green arrows kind of converging upon it, that means I can put my hero right there. And if I cannot reach there, then I can't put my hero there. I recommend putting your hero close to the town, but not super close to the enemies to start out. So I'm going to put my hero right here. Now this hero, you want to pay attention to what they have. Edwig has a wooden shortbow, so he's a ranged attacker. So let's move close enough to be able to attack on the first round. Then I'm going to push E to switch to my next hero. Notice where it says position your heroes in the upper left that Edwig's name has disappeared because I have positioned him for this round. All right. Now I can move. All right. This is Freya. And if I want to move her up here, I can do that. But let's say I don't like that. I can actually cancel the last movement. So this is, I love, strategy games like this, turn-based strategy games that let you take back. You can push delete or click this to kind of undo that movement if you didn't like it. All right. And you can even go back further and undo the deployment of Edwig if you want to completely revamp what you've done. So I'm going to put him here, and I'm going to click on Freya, and she's using a wand, so she's also kind of a ranged attacker. I'll put her here. And then let's click over here on Layla and see she's got herself a big old hammer. And I'll put her in the front, like that. So my position is fine. I'm happy with this, and I can click end phase or just push return. Now, boom. We're done with the deployment phase. and it has become night. You can see in the upper left, it's changed from day into night, and now there is a number. It's night 1, okay, of defending this particular town, all right? So what you're trying to do in this game is protect different areas, and if you can successfully stay here in this... Okay, sorry, I keep calling them towns. They're called havens. If you can protect the mage in the haven for however many nights are required for the casting of the spell, then you will win in that area. So that's what we're trying to do. It's just however many nights it takes, we're going for it. Now this is night 1, turn 1, and it's the hero phase of combat. So it says, during the night, repel monsters until they're all dead. Move the heroes and use their skills in any order you like. And we say, okay. A hero's skills depend on the gear they have equipped, as we were talking about. And you can use the number keys to toggle between them or just click on them on the UI, on the interface to use them in battle. Okay. So I'm going to move the camera around, and we start with Layla, but you can switch whichever hero you want to have attacking. So now it's time to learn what we've got. So here come a bunch of clawers, and they're all coming into the town. Now, you definitely don't have to kill them all on the first turn, okay? So don't worry if some of them survive. In fact, if you mouse over them, you can see how far they can move and attack to see the threatened tiles. So you can see, like, these guys can only move this far. So they're not getting to the mage right now, all right? Also, in the back in the mist, you can kind of see the clawers and the enemies that are coming in next to get a feel. So what we want to do is go ahead and do as much damage as we can efficiently to eliminate the threat. But this is where the difficulty comes in with the game, and I want to explain this right away. You do not regenerate all of your mana every turn. You regenerate all of your action points, but your health and your mana, you only get a certain amount. And so what that means is, each turn, if you use a whole bunch of mana, you will run out of mana, and then you will be sad because you can't really do anything. So it's a game about balancing and not using too much mana if you can avoid it. You want to try to use mana when it's the most efficient, most effective for the situation. So looking at Freya with this wand, the skill Sword of Damocles, okay, requires no mana. Actually, her only mana skill is Magic Missile. But let's look at Sword of Damocles. When I mouse over it, it says it's undodgeable, which seems pretty good. It does a range from 68 to 96 damage, and it can target any of the kind of orange squares, anything either at minimum 3 or maximum 8 squares away we can hit. It only hits one target, and we have 4 uses of it per turn, and it takes up 1 action point. So this is a great single target DPS spell that we have. It also explains it's doing magic damage, which ignores half of the target's resistance, okay? And it's undodgeable, which ignores the target's dodge. Okay, so if I mouse over this guy, this clawer, I can see that this clawer has 100 health, and I'm looking in the upper right, by the way, and it does 23 to 28 damage. It has minus 20% to dodge, not very good. 4 movement. Oh no, I'm sorry. It has minus 20% for us to hit it, I believe. It has 4% dodge. So this is alarming, okay? But if I hit it with my Sword of Damocles, I'm going to click on the Sword of Damocles and just blast this, okay? When I mouse over the target, if it's something I can hit, you'll see this kind of sword icon, and the enemy's health bar will appear, and I do it, and bam. I did actually 87 damage, okay? So that's amazing, and I'm like super excited about that strike. Now, look at the clawer. You see how it has 2 drops of blood below its health bar? This confused me at first, but sometimes in games this will indicate that this is a damage over time effect, like it's bleeding. That is not the case here. What's going on is that if you look in the upper right, there it has 100 health, and there are these blood drops at different stages along the scale of that health bar to indicate thresholds where which you do enough damage that it suffers like injuries that negatively impact its status. So it has -2 movement points now, and it has minus 50% total damage. So by hitting it, we have severely limited its ability to move and hurt us, so we can almost now move on to a different target if we like. Now, just a couple of things about combat. If you want to mouse over turbo mode, all right, you can speed up the game if you're in a really easy fight, or you want to just move faster. That's totally something you could do. And if you don't want to mouse over every enemy to see where they can move, you can hold Alt to kind of like aggregate all of the enemy's movement just to see where the entire horde is moving for positioning purposes. Okay? All right. So at this point, Freya has used one action point and blasted that guy. Now I can hit some more targets, or, okay, I can use my Sword of Damocles again and hit this one right here. Boom. Okay, we did 89 damage again, and we hit it extremely hard. It's almost dead. And I'm going to hit this one. 91, even better. And I'm going to hit this one. Now, I have used all of her Sword of Damocles for the round, and I feel good about that. The reason I'm using Sword of Damocles and not Magic Missile is, again, I want to try to not use mana. Now, of course, I could have used Magic Missile and been fine in the sense that I would regenerate all of the mana, but it's a nice practice to just hold your mana back until things get more serious. The other reason is I'm going to use this skill right here called Fortify. Now, this will just boost our block, all right? So if I Fortify and you click it and you click yourself, then boom, I get +7 block, and you can see I went from 12 to 19. Now, the reason I do that is this game, I told you it was a roguelite, okay? And what that means is there are all these little things that you can improve in that affect your overall save file in the game. And some of these can be gained by doing achievements, like, for example, using armor skills, or fortify, or movement skills, or wand skills a certain number of times. So it really behooves you to try to use a lot of abilities just to unlock some of those achievements. Now, she's pretty much done. You can see how she's, like, kind of grayed out. She has no AP left. I can still move her, though, but I don't want to do it right now. Now, it's worth mentioning that if I switch over and I start doing stuff with Layla, I can still come back and do the movement with Freya. This is a game where it's not like XCOM or some games that force the end of turn after actions. You can actually like wait and plan everything out, do it move by move, and you have all the time that you need to do that. So keep planning, and we'll come back to her and see where the enemy hordes are. The reason I was targeting the close enemies, okay, is because they're the ones that are in danger of moving toward us and hitting us first. And if we injure them, we slow their movement down, and now when I hold Alt, you see they can only, as a group, move to here as the furthest that they can move, all right? Also, just as I'm moving around, you notice the green arrow on Freya. That's her movement, and the game just conveniently tells you how many movement points it will take to move to the selected tile and what path you will take. All right, I'm actually going to switch over and look at some of the abilities that our hammer user has, okay? So, for example, Stomp is an ability that hits enemies, all right, in multiple squares. So now that this is not a single target ability, when you look at the Stomp tooltip that pops up underneath the damage, you will see a picture where the red square represents the user and all of the blue squares represent the tiles or squares that will be targeted by this ability. So you hit all of those squares for this much damage, okay? And you have a 75% chance to stun them, all right? Now, it does less than normal damage. I believe it says the damage range is 53 to 60 because, you know, I believe it's because it's an AoE ability. But at the same time, oh, I'm sorry. This is a secondary effect, is what it's saying. So it has a secondary effect. Right. So there's a primary target and a secondary target. So if I have 6 movement points, I could actually spend 5 movement points, move up here, and then use Stomp and like kill all 4 of these zombies, and then move backward. Now, the only problem with that is she would still be in range to get hit, which I'm not excited about. So I think I might not be moving her. We'll see. But let's move over to our archer. Our archer has a bunch of AoE abilities as well. All right, so I can just do regular shots, but I can also do some ridiculous abilities like this. All right, so if I move this ability, okay, you'll see the cone of my vision from where I can attack, and the targets have to be within the cone. Now, if I mouse over an area where there's a diagonal, I have the option, I can push F to rotate, but normally in the last spell, you cannot rotate. Okay, so right here, I can't rotate and make this a horizontal or a vertical rectangle of my choosing. This is something that's very important. It applies to buildings, it applies to abilities, and it's just something unique to this game. You cannot rotate it. So you got to get used to that right away. So you want to use the best ability that does not need rotation. Now what I like to do is, for example, this ability, which is called Rain of Arrows, I like to see how many targets I can actually get. So this says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets, okay? Out of a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think that's actually pretty good and efficient, and I can use this right now. And check this out. So we just killed a ton of these crawlers, and we injured a bunch more. So now when I hold down Alt, we are not being threatened by very many of them, except for this guy who's at full health and these back here. Okay, so now we did that, and that's great. And now I used 4 mana, so I don't really want to use too much more. I want to keep myself at max mana. We regenerate 5 per turn with Edvig. So I'm just going to push 1 and use my regular attack, okay? And I can attack here, but I kind of want to hit this guy. I can't, he's out of range. So I'm going to move my archer up a little bit. And any movement is cancelable until you cast a skill. So again, you can just take that back if you want. And I like to do this so that it's perfect for somebody like me who doesn't calculate everything perfectly every time. So if I move up here, for example, then you can use your, select your ability and see what's in range. And then if you oh wait, I'm not in range, you can cancel the move, then come back and then get yourself in range. Now, I'm going to push escape and hold down Alt, and you can see right here, I'm not targetable by anything. So I can actually just shoot this guy with my regular shot, and now look how far. They can barely move at all. All right. So I'm going to keep hitting some stuff with regular shots. Actually, we just one-shot that. And hit this one here. Bam. When you have no action points left on your heroes, or you're done with the turn, hit the end turn button and it will trigger the Horde's turn. Action and move will be restored at the start of your next turn. Correct. But what's cool is I did that and I put myself out there, but I'm actually going to move back a little bit so that the new enemies coming in cannot hit me, okay? And now I have a choice where with my hammer user, Layla, I could go up to here, and stomp and then use crush and kill these 2 and then move back and probably be safe, except for maybe from this one. So let's test that out. Let's get really greedy, okay, and move up here and then say I want to do stomp, all right, and I'm going to target this tile. Actually, that just kills them both. And she's like, did you see that? We did see that. And then now, if I move back here, I believe she is safe. I don't believe you can attack on diagonals, but you might be able to. I haven't played in a bit, so if you can, I apologize, but this is pretty safe. At the very least, it's only, I think, 1 enemy that can hit us. And she has so much armor that it's okay. And now, I'm going to just push. I'm going to say we're good. We've moved enough. I'm happy. I'm going to end the turn. And then it will give you this warning. It says, the hero's turn's about to end, but you have unresolved tasks. You have 3 action points and 1 hero didn't move. So you can just say okay, Or you could say cancel, and it's a good point. Let's go ahead and brace. Now watch what brace does. If I brace with Layla, this gives her 35 extra armor. So now she has 64 armor. This is what allows a melee character like her to actually go up and endure and use her abilities more effectively without, threat of just death. So now you can see her armor has gone up to 64. So we're feeling really stout. And now I'm going to push enter, and I am going to just say cool, end of turn. Oh my god. Oh my god, indeed. Here they come. And they did not attack on the diagonal. So they would have to have an ability like Stomp or something that was an AoE, I think, to attack on diagonal, or a ranged attack or something where you could target anything. Now, it does say health and mana are not fully restored every day. So the health and mana attributes are shown next to the health and mana indicators. So you can see right here, for example, it says +6 and +0 for how much health and mana we regenerate every day. When a unit's health goes under a certain threshold, they become wounded, which is what we were talking about, where this guy has 2 wounds, for example. The inflicted negative effects are specific to the unit's type. If it's a hero, if it's a claw, etc. Hover over the blood droplet icons under a unit's health bar to discover their effect. Okay, so now what's fun is this. We've got Layla right here in combat range. I'm just going to step her up and have a blast. I'm going to stomp. All right, so the primary target, the one that is in front of me, is going to take the big damage, the 106 to 118, and then all of the other targets take the blue damage, the 53 to 60, the secondary effect. All right, so if I stomp, boom. Now, what's important about stomp is that it has a high chance to stun. All of these dudes that have a star above their health bar have just been stunned for 1 round. They can't move or attack. Okay, so Stomp is actually like a really effective cloud control. Cloud control? How about crowd control? I guess it could control some clouds as well. All right, so I'm going to then walk her over here with 3 movement points and use Stomp again down here. All right, and now I can only use it twice, and it did use 4 of her mana, but she'll regenerate all of it. We're good to go. Now this guy is actually stunned, but I still have 1 action point left, okay? And so I'm going to use Crush, which is just a 1 action point ability that targets, that lets her hit 2 tiles in any direction. And we're going to just kill that dude and walk back. And if I hold Alt, you can see only this enemy perhaps can walk and hit her. So she's doing great. I'm going to push E to switch. Now let's have some fun. Rain of Arrows time. Now remember, we don't want to hit enemies that are stunned, but right here, if I use Rain of Arrows, for example, I get all 7. So whenever I get all 7, I love to use that ability. We just annihilate stuff. You see how fun this game is? It's like, it's tower defense in that the zombies are coming for your base and you're trying to defend it. But unlike a lot of, tactical turn-based strategy RPG games, the enemies, you are just killing droves of them. There's zombies. In some of those games, there's only a few targets, you're cycling between a few of them. This just really makes you feel fun and powerful. All right, now I'm going to stop. Oh my gosh. Let me scale back. Remember how I was not using mana? The reason I'm not using mana is I explained this wrong. I apologize. You do not get this mana and health back at the end of every turn. It's at the daytime. So you see how I went down to 11? I do not get this +5 back after the horde has gone. I only get it when we're done with the night. So this is why I've already used 2 Rain of Arrows. I might not use any more if I can avoid it. Okay? Because mana is so hard to get back. Now, you're going to see immediately, though, that we're going to be able to build stuff that actually helps us get our mana back more effectively. But just pay attention. I forgot. It's not every turn. It's at the end of the battle when it becomes daytime again. So mana is even more scarce in that sense, which is why it's something you want to boost. Now, if you want to know how much time is left before it's day, okay, there's this slider right here. There's the moon, and as you see it go across the sky over to the right, when this fills up, then it's going to be getting close to daytime. So we need that to happen. Now, the bar below this is the city panic, and this reflects, like, if the enemies actually get into the town and start breaking buildings, then the city starts to panic, and there's all kinds of negative effects that can happen from that. In these first few battles, that should not be an issue. We should be able to annihilate this stuff, but later on, it becomes more important, so just pay attention to that. All right, so now, wait a minute. Mana not every turn, every daytime, so I knew there was a reason I was like more reticent to use it. I kind of like misremembered it, and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. No, it is bad. So we want to use abilities as much as we can that don't require that. So I'm going to shoot this guy with just a regular shot, and I'm going to shoot this one with a regular shot. Okay, and shoot anybody else that we can get. I'm just going to kill this one. And now Edwig is done. So I'm going to move them back to there and switch over to our mage. Now, I'm going to use Magic Missile just to show you what it does, but this might be the only spell I cast with her. This is a single target DPS spell that you get to cast 4 times, basically. So it's not necessarily... It's a bad way of explaining. I guess I call it single target because it's not affecting an area, but it's a multi-target, multi-hit. So I can go 1 hit here. You can put all 4 onto 1, or you could put 2 onto 1, or you could put all 4 onto 4 different targets. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. How about that? And now I'm going to use Sword of Damocles and just kind of finish off some of these. I need to move her up a little bit. I want to hold all... Yep, I just want to get it so all of my characters are out of their damage range. So as long as the red can't touch us, we are good. I'm going to hit this one. She's out of AP. I'm going to move her back. And I'm good. I'm going to end the turn. Here they come. Now, at this point, it says select enemies to see their skills and what they might... where they might move on their next turn, and press Alt to see where they all might move, right? We were talking about that. But now that the moon has turned into a sun right here, and now all it means is if we wanted to get it to be day, we just have to kill the remaining 41 enemies. So once we kill all 41 of these, we're good. There's not going to be any more that add. Even if you see... well, never mind. Let me take that back. There's just only going to be 41 that we have to kill. So let's do that. I'm going to shoot right here. Now I can do power attack, actually. But you have to be closer for that. I'm going to move up 1, power attack this guy. 1 shot him. And let's go ahead and start blasting. 1, 2. Saving mana if we can. They dodge. That's a shame. This guy's got armor. He's a little harder to hit. Okay. All done there. Let's switch to our caster. So, alright. This can give action points or movement points, I believe, to another. I don't really use transfer that much. I'm going to start shooting what I can. Right there. Right there. Kill that one. Damage that one, or try to. Okay. And let's see. Yep, I need to move her over here. And I'm going to use Fortify. And she's doing great. All right, now it's time to have some fun. Remember, Crush is actually one that does not take mana, and it's an AoE. So we can kind of go here. This one didn't die, so I'm just going to hit it with my hammer. And then I'm going to Crush right here. All right. And they can move to here, so I'm just going to move back to this square and use Brace on her. And I think we're done. Yeah, we have an action point left with her, but that's fine. Here they come. And yeah, so they are moving from there. All the enemies weren't on the screen yet, but this is the cap of enemies that there will be. It's not infinite. It's just 33. Any enemy within your haven or damaging its buildings with... so if there's enemies within our haven, within the haven means within the boundaries of the interior walls. Or if the buildings get damaged, then there's panic that's caused... and it decreases the rewards that we get for clearing them. So we want to just not have any panic because we want the best rewards possible. And I'll show you that in a moment. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to move here, and I'm going to do a crush to each side. Okay, very good. I'm going to walk her here. Bap. Bap. And she can move all the way to here and brace. All right, she's done. Now, the enemies can get there, so we need to damage the enemies that could get there with our other characters. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there's still somebody that can get there. I'm going to move up 1, power shot this guy. Gone. And I'm going to move back. And then now, let's just hit what we need to. There we go. And now nobody can get there. Just try to hit the ones in the front. And I'm being very conservative. I'm not using mana at this point. To try to save up a little bit. Alright. Good. End the turn. That's fine. Tremendous. Now they damaged this building. Okay? Which is annoying. But, you know, not the end of the world. You can see the different exclamation points indicate the thresholds at which panic is caused. Breaking this stuff out here really won't cause panic. Alright? So, it's annoying, but if you kill the ones around it, it's fine. And you can use that strategically, like they might target that instead of you. Alright. So, I'm actually going to use Magic Missile. I'm going to use one more spell with her, just to get down a bunch of targets easily. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, she's good. I'm not going to move her yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to move up here. Crush. Bap. Crush again. Smack. Okay. And I will move her here and brace. And then I'm going to switch over to our archer. Alright. So if we hit here, and here, and here, and there. She can't be hit. This stuff can be hit, but it's really not that bad. And I want to get in range to do a power shot right there. Alright. So now we've killed basically all the enemies on this side, and it's just this group of 15 right here. And they can't hit any of us, so I'm just going to end the turn, and we're good. You can see they broke some more stuff. No problem. Now, actually, let me clarify. It does say right here, defenses and ruins only generate a very small amount of panic. But if a building within the hamlet itself, or the haven rather, is damaged, like one of these, that's severe panic. These are minimal. Okay. I'm going to switch to my melee fighter. Here we go. And let's have some fun. One, 2, 3, 4, 'She's out of movement, so I need to probably fortify with her. That's fine. But we can actually protect her pretty well. Check this out. Let's go. Strong shot. Can't hit anybody yet with it, but we will. Just step in 1, hit this one. You can shoot right through your buddy, no problem. Hit. Dead. Hit. Dead. Hit. Dead. And hit. Dead. Oh, not dead, but damaged. Okay, very good. I'm going to move him back so he doesn't get hit. And then now it's her turn. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And 4. Alright. So she can be hit, but her armor is high enough. We'll get to see what happens when that goes down. And we're going to go ahead and fortify like that and end the turn. Alright, so they come from all directions. And you see they hit her pretty hard, but her armor held up. So they do a lot of damage. But now we're good, because I'm going to switch to her again and just go ahead and crush. Crush. There's only 8 left. Okay. Hit. Hit. Move. This is called cleanup duty. And, oops. She's out of action points. Okay. But there's only 3 targets left. So let's just go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Jackpot. So we did it. We're going to end the turn. Wait, never mind. There's another enemy. Oh, I'm like not seeing this one foolishly. Okay. I'm still excited. I thought we were done. I'm going to power shot. Dead. All right. So that you could see our mana being restored right there. And then you get this screen, which says another night survived. Okay. You get a ranking, and you get experience that you share with all of your heroes. And this is where I'm telling you, the game really just becomes... When this happened, I was like, oh God, I love this game. You level up your characters, right? And you start to get rewards. So you say continue, and it gives you like a breakdown of the rewards. We didn't have any panic, so we get max rewards. Special rewards, which is 105 gold, 100 building materials, and an item. We say continue. And now we can see that way more enemies are going to be coming through on the next phase, and from the northwest again. During the production phase, you can rebuild the haven and enhance your heroes. The commander's journal serves as a reminder of everything you can do, like we were talking about. Multiple resources are available in your haven. Gold is used for building structures and buying equipment, while materials are used for defenses. Workers are used to trigger the active abilities of some buildings and will replenish every day. Alright, so as you can see at the bottom, they're only coming from up here, but there's 3 skulls, meaning more than last time. Luckily, we're getting stronger. You'll also notice that the mist has advanced significantly upon this haven. And so now the enemies are going to be spawning in this area and moving toward us. No, they're coming from this area. They don't spawn right here, but we need to move back because it's tightening up on us. All right, so let's go ahead, and I like to do this top to bottom. So let's just level up. So you click character details, increase the primary and secondary attributes of your heroes to reinforce a strength or alleviate a weakness. So under character details, you get to pick a primary attribute. This is, again, something so cool about the game. You roll, kind of like Battle Brothers or whatever. There's a roll with what you can improve. You can improve, like, give her 24 armor. Okay? And there's a ranking of rarity for the different abilities. There's common, there's epic, there's rare, uncommon, and they're color-coded and everything like that. You can see, like, oh, wow, block just negates a flat portion of incoming damage. This is ridiculous. This is a 10% damage boost. All right? I'm going to give her block just because I want to keep her alive. But if you don't like any of these, okay, you can re-roll and try to like go for a particular build that you're looking for. Now, from here, I'm going to tell you that this ability, Daily Mana Regen, I love this because it just gives you 3 extra mana regen every day, and mana is so precious. It's only common, but even though it's common, I still take it. Like, this is rare, this momentum ability, but you need to have an ability that you're using that actually does something with momentum. So, like, you can mouse over your abilities, and our abilities do not, okay, benefit from momentum. So because of that, that's a factor. But it does say when you move, you do bonus damage per time, like based on how far you move. So this would allow you to do, like based on how many tiles I moved, I'm going to do 7% extra damage, all right? So this is awesome if you're moving a lot, okay? So you could certainly take this, like run up and do, you know, crush or stomp or something like that and get the momentum bonus. But it only affects skills with the momentum effect. So it's not like every skill gets this. It has to have momentum. So because of that, I'm going to take Daily Mana Regen, and I'm going to click it again to confirm it. Now, that's not all. You also level up perks. So there's a badge over here blinking that says level up your perks. So let's select this. Build your own combination of passive abilities to further specialize the playstyle of your heroes. Heroes have varying perk trees, so check them out carefully, right? So these are kind of randomly generated for each hero. Heroes gain 1 perk point per level up to level 11. And if you want to plan ahead, you can pin the desired perks as a reminder. So you can get anywhere on the tree that you want, and you don't have to have the perk above or below the other perk to trigger it. It just has to be on a tier that you have access to. So I could get Fatality and then Avid Learner as long as I have more, like it just requires the number of perks, not a pre-existing perk, okay? So I'm going to take Fatality. Fatality is so fantastic. What this means is if a enemy is under 10 health, or for our case, it's increased by our level, but if an enemy is under 16 health, like they're about to die, you can just finish them off with Fatality, and it requires no action points or anything. So it's super good. Just a way to clean up, and she's melee, so she's going to be out there able to use it. I like it very much on melee characters. All right, then we'll just going to go to the next hero, E, and let's go to character details and level up. And this is our archer. We could give the archer a ton of armor, which is pretty good. But what I look for is mana. This is 7 extra mana. There's no way I'm not going to take this. Accuracy is good, but mana is so important for the big abilities. I want that, yes. And let's see if there's anything I really, really want here. Crit power is good. And experience gain is also actually pretty good. It's just 20% extra experience. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's early enough in the game to take that. I haven't re-rolled yet because I haven't seen anything I want to re-roll for. And by the way, when you re-roll, there's 5 choices at first. If you re-roll once, then it goes down to 4 choices. And if you re-roll again, it goes down to only 3 choices. So you might, strike out. But I'm going to take that. Perks, okay. We've got Sprint, which allows you to trade health for movement points. Mana growth, 6 mana, gives me more mana. I'm pretty much going to take that. Every 2 attacks dodged, restores an action point and boosts accuracy. That's actually pretty nice. Quick reload is also pretty good if you have something that you want to have another use of. Like, Power Shot only has 2 uses. But if I use quick reload, I can get an extra use. If I've used one, it recharges one. And Potion Throw gives you an extra equipment slot, and you can throw potions to heal people. Also really cool. But no, I want mana. Give me that mana. Okay, and then let's go over to Freya, and let's go to character details and level her up. Oh my goodness, uncommon mana, 12 extra mana, yes. Now, it is worth mentioning, just because Freya is a mage, because she has the wand, I could just buy a new weapon, and she's no longer a mage. So you don't have to shoehorn her to be a mage. She just is because we started out that way. But based on her traits, okay, based on her strengths and weaknesses and her level up attributes, you might want to switch out of that. So she gets extra bag slots and less experience, but then this gives her 12% extra, so she's still plus 12 experience, and then she gets no daily health regeneration, basically. Well, she's minus 10. But at the same time, she's still, pretty good. This is nice. Extra back slots. I'm going to go for mana all day long. And what else do we have here? This is a boost to magic damage. It's pretty good. Reliability is fantastic. So reliability basically means, like, you know how there's a range of damage, like 60 to 90. If you boost your reliability, you have a you boost the floor of the damage, and if you have 100% reliability, you always do the max on the roll. So it's really, really good. But all of these are common, so I'm actually going to re-roll, and I'll take crit power. Daily health regeneration is fine, but you really don't lose health until later, so I'm going to take this. And we'll go to perks. And there's just nothing that's not going to have me take 12 extra mana. It's so good. There we go. So we got... Now she's at 31 mana. How about that? Okay? And, you know, Layla's at 22 and Edwig is at 35. Now, I think they might have restored all of their mana because they leveled up. I think that's what happened. So that's even better for us. All right? So now we get a reward. We'll click on this. And it says, day 1, you got a new reward. You click on this, and in keeping with everything else, it's a roll. You roll it, and you get random stuff, like uncommon. This is an epic helmet, okay? It gives 10 health, 3 resist, plus 4 to, you know, daily mana regeneration, 13% reliability. It is ridiculous. That's so good. So we will take it. Yeah. Just for the mana regen alone, it's almost worth it. Now we're in the gold phase where we can build new structures and buy gear. All right, so I'm going to go to build structures because the structures I want, all right, are mana wells. Actually, I misspoke before. When you build structures or buy gear, it uses gold. That's why it's in the gold phase. Building materials is used for building, but it's used for building defensive stuff like walls. All right, so you don't use them interchangeably. You just use them for this. Now, we already have a shop, and we already have a temple, so we can't build more. Mana wells permanently increase max mana for all heroes, every production phase. You can use them to regenerate mana. They're so important for being able to use your big abilities. So I love mana wells. I'm going to build one right there. All right, and we automatically get it. And honestly, I could build another one, and I will, because I love them so much. Anywhere it's green, you can build it, and it raises it up. All right, and now, if I click on the mana well, or if I click on the temple, okay, these are structures that you can actually use. They have active uses, but we'll wait until the workers phase to get that. We can go to the shop and buy stuff. Items have 2 elements that determine their power, their level, and their rarity, okay? So it's represented by the Roman numeral at the bottom of the icon and the +X. So this is only, you know, a bottom level item, but it's rare. It's like, it's rarity. So this is phenomenal. Now you can click right here where it says compare gear. Let's look at Layla, because she's our melee character, and let's compare this to what she's got on. She has medium armor. Okay, that's fine actually. She has no helmet. So if we gave her this, it would give her 15 extra armor, and I kind of like that a lot. This would give her 10 extra armor and hurts her daily mana regen, but gives her 15% crit power, so But this is, again, where, I mean, you are layering so many things here in the game. You are, like, building up, customizing your character, changing the outcome based on what gear you get, what modifiers you get, and you can, like, build broken characters. It's so good with ridiculous modifiers. We're going to buy this right now. I'm just going to drag it over, and I'm going to push escape. I'm going to go to the character menu, and I'm going to go to city stash. I'm going to give her... heroes can have 2 different weapon sets and can switch between them, as we talked about. Consumable items, this is incredibly important, do not disappear when they're used. Instead, they have a number of uses per night and fully refill at the start of the production phase. So, if you buy a scroll or a potion or something, it's with you forever. You use it the set number of times per night, but then once you get, if you survive to the next production phase, it's back again. It's so good. So, factor that in when you're buying them. All right, I'm going to put a helmet on her, and you can see it changes her graphic. And then we're going to go over here, and I'm going to give this to Edwig like that, because I love his AoE abilities, and I want him to have more daily mana regen, and close that up. All right. Now, I only have 11 gold left, so I'm going to skip to the next phase, which is build defenses. You just click on this button, or push X, And then down here, it tells you can build some different barricades, walls, gates, and such. So I'm going to build a gate right there and a gate right there, okay? And then I'm going to just push X again to bring this back up. And I'm going to build some just regular walls across, like that. And we have 25 left, so I'm going to kind of just round this out. And now we only have 10 materials, so we're good. Gates you can walk right through with your heroes. The enemies can't, but you can. You don't have to jump over anything, so I like them. And now we've given a layer of protection to the mage. And now we can go workers. So we can assign our workers to buildings, and we also have workers that have, or buildings that have free actions. So let's do the free actions first. On free actions, okay, we have our temple and we have our 2 mana wells. And any free action is in the workers panel right here, and it has a 0. So this is 0, it's free. This with a 1 worker means it takes 1 worker to do it. We have 2 total workers. You can see that in the upper left. And this would take 2 of our workers to do it. Each one of these has 1 charge based on how many buildings. And you can upgrade these by spending money, which we don't have. Now this would just restore health, but we don't need to do it. I'm going to actually switch between another building, okay? I'm just going to kind of click this to go to my mana well, okay? And the mana well has a 0 ability to just restore 6 mana. So these are so good for restoring mana. I actually don't need to use any of them right now because we're at full mana because we leveled up. Now we can assign them to buildings if we want, okay? But here's what we want. Gift grants +6 max mana to the target hero. Okay, so we're going to use gift, all right, and we're going to select our archer like that, give him +6 max mana. Okay, and then we can go to the other mana well and use gift on our mage, and she gets +6. So now they have like extra mana. All right, now it is worth noting here. Let me go ahead and do this. That max mana, not all of it is immediately given, so you can use the free ability to kind of top them off, like that, and now they're at full mana, and we're ready to go. Here they come over here, so it's time to position our units, but that is in the deployment phase, which is next. Okay, so this is still the production phase. We have a free action left, which is like heal, but we don't need it. We don't want to build anything, we don't want to buy anything, so we're good to go to the next phase. And at this point, we deploy and just fight again. I think we'll end this first episode of the Beginner's Guide for the last spell right here, because you've got to see the full play loop, leveling up, how to battle, how to build, how to use the town, the strategy, the basics of the game, the UI, the controls, and really get a feel for what it's like. It gets harder and harder as you go, but it's so much fun. In future episodes, you might get to see some of the roguelike elements of the permanent upgrades that we start to unlock if you're interested in seeing more. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this to be informative and helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I hope you enjoy playing this game or you consider getting it, because it's just such, it's just such a fantastic mashup of different game types. Thanks again. Take care, everybody.